played for us for 4 years. He did it all. I remember him and the coach from Hopkins sitting at our camp. They were down in the gym, and I went downstairs to talk to him, and I said, Ronnie, I said, they're telling me about how many takeaways you got. I said, how many checks do you have? And I thought maybe he's going to say about, oh, I got around 9 or 10. He said 125 or 127. I couldn't believe. And what I wanted to hear was the name of the checks. And him and Petromala sat there and they started naming off all the checks. It was just something to hear. I've never heard anything or heard any defense and had that many checks. But Ronnie was very good for us because he was a young player. He played for us. He put his soul into the game. And when he came and he coached for us, he was able to relate to our kids. I can't tell you how important that is. You got to have somebody who can relate them buggers, because I was too old for them. They didn't give a damn what I said, but they listened to Ronnie and he helped us out. And Mark Luce, Mark, where are you? Mark's in here. Mark is like a son to me. He's highly dedicated. He's got tremendous energy. He just did everything, and he worked on a positive note with these kids all the time. And it was just great to have him around. You know, sometimes you got to practice and you're on a downer. You're never on a downer around this guy. Most positive person I've ever seen. And Mark, we love you and thank you so much for your loyalty. And then I got Jeff Clark. Jeff, would you stand up, please?
Morning!
Gang, I've been in coaching a long time. I've never had anybody as dedicated and loyal as Jeff Clark. I mean, he was just outstanding. He was my right-hand man. You know, you can't expect too much out of me in administration and try to get bus trips and get this and get that. We had to do a lot of things. I depended on Jeff. He just did a super job for me. And Jeff, I surely appreciate it. I love you to death, buddy. You're just a great coach. We had an incident where we were talking and somebody said something about the kids having, you know, we were talking about the GPA and how we've got to try to do well with the GPA, all sports at Towson. And I mentioned, Jeff, what's our GPA? And he said, Coach, it's not too good, it's a 1.9. I said, that's our team GPA of 1.9. He says, yeah. He said, but I'll tell you something. He says, if we can get Kisslinger off of that list, he said, we can make it. Steve, whereabouts are you? Hey, he walked out there. He said, Steve, I want to tell you, he was probably the worst team defenseman I've ever had in my life. But I want to tell you this: I have never in my life seen any takeaway defenseman better than that gentleman over there. I'm a great coach, right? I'm running the zone. I got somebody like that who can take away the ball from anybody. I was on the wrong page at that time. Yeah. I want to pass this story along to you. I don't want to. This is a great story, I think, and it happened up in Syracuse, and we had a meeting with the NCAA prior to the game. We all sat down and coached both teams, and the administrators, the athletic directors, and we sat down and we talked about the protocol, what's going to happen for the game. And they mentioned at the time, do you have any concerns? And I had a player, a youngster who played for me, not a youngster, but he was a man, Danny Nolan, who played for us. And Danny was just a super player, rough as hell, but Danny had ASL. He came down with ASL. And we were at a point where he was in a wheelchair. He was at our Virginia game, and he really enjoyed it. And I said, Danny, we got the next game was Princeton. He said, Coach, I got to go to the hospital. I can't make Princeton. He said, but I'll tell you what. He says, you're in the finals. I'm going to be there. I said, Danny, can't wait to see you. And fortunately, we went up and we made the finals. We got into the finals. And at this meeting, they said, do you have any concerns? And I said, well, you know, I said, yeah, I've got a concern. I said, we've got a young man in a wheelchair, and I want him on the sideline. And they said, oh, you can't do that. But we do have a spot up on the second rafter there where we can put the wheelchairs. And I looked at him, and I don't know, I'm a different type of person. Sometimes I say things and I shouldn't say what the hell I'm going to say. But I said it. I said, you know what? You all are under, you can do what you want, but I want you to know that you're in violation of Public Law 94-142. of the Disability Act of the nation. And I said, and fortunately I knew this stuff because I was just taking classes over at Gallaudet, and I was up on this stuff, but I don't know why the hell I said this. And then everything just quieted down. I mean, it was so quiet, nobody said anything. And I thought to myself, oh, Ron, what the hell did you get yourself into now? And I said, this, you know, I started to get a little embarrassing. It was so quiet. Then all of a sudden, one administrator says, well, you know, I don't see any problem why we couldn't have him on the sideline. And you know what? That was one of my proudest moments, taking him across the field diagonally. And then there's a Spangine story. I've always felt that I want to try to do something to put our kids in championship. I told Joe Arlino that we want to go out. I said, I got an idea, Joe, and I hope it works. He says, what do you got, Coach? I said, I want us to get the team to vote on the best looking girls in school, 4 of them. Pick out the best looking 4 girls in school. The lacrosse coach picks them out. We'll buy them shorts and we'll buy them sweaters, shirts that they can wear. And then when we start the game, we'll have 2 on one side, we have 2 on the other, and they'll walk the captains to the center of the field. And I said, it's going to be great. And you know what? Teams look forward to that. Boy, the captains were talking to the girls, our guys were talking to them, and they go up to the center of the field, talk to the officials, and then the girls will lead them back. Then we had chairs behind each goal, and the girls would sit there, and when the ball was thrown out of bounds, they'd go get it. That was very appealing to a lot of kids, and it helped us out. Well, a good thing about that is it worked out for a while, and then it seemed to die off. And I told Joe Arlino, I said, Joe, I said, it just doesn't have the effect that he has. He said, Christ, Coach, they're 45 years old. We can't use them anymore. So we got rid of them, but then we started, I had the idea about the Spangines. There's nobody in lacrosse that wears Spangines. And it was my feeling, I felt very strongly that, hey, we got a hell of a team. I want to push them ahead. I want people to talk about, hey, you're about Towson, they're wearing Spangines over there. You know? And when they wear lacrosse, they wear baggy shorts. Everybody wears these repulsive looking baggy shorts. And I said, I want our guys in Spangines. Nobody wears them, but they do wear them in bicycling, they do wear them in swimming, and they do wear them in what's the other, what is it? Wrestling, they wear them there, but our guys, lacrosse didn't have them. I said, we'll be the first. Everybody's going to enjoy this. Well, what we did is we went and bought knocked out Spangines, and we had Towson TSU on one side, and then we had a Tiger on the other side. And if any of you guys remember who we were playing at the time?
Delaware.
God dang Delaware. We beat them in football this year. Anyhow, we're playing Delaware, and we want to whip up on them. And I'm out in the middle of the field, and when I'm out in the middle of the field, the official says, Coach, he says, you got a nice squad. I said, yeah. I said, I think we got a nice squad. He says, boy, he says, they're really fired up, ain't they? I said, yeah. I said, they are. They're ready for this game. Delaware, you bet your pippy. Anyhow, they went out, and I looked over the side. He says, boy, look at them punching one. They're really up. And I looked over the sideline. They weren't banging one another, getting fired up. They were fist fighting. With the gloves, they're just hitting one another. I says, holy hell. I ran over to the sideline, and I started, what the hell's wrong with you guys? I said, we got a big game in a couple minutes, and we got to beat Delaware. You guys are going to beat the hell out of us on the sideline here. Well, Coach, it's the Spangines. We don't want to wear the Spangines. You said wear the Spangines. We're wearing the Spangines. And then I went over to some of the guys who didn't want to wear the Spangines. I said, why don't you want to wear the Spangines? I said, Christ, they're unique. We're gonna step above the rest. And they said, Coach, it's a little obscene. It's showing. And one guy said, yeah, Coach, I don't want to look like a damn ballerina out there with leotards. And I said, I never gave that much thought. Then it dawned on me that lacrosse people are a unique bunch. They really are. Lacrosse people don't shower after a game. And I noticed this because I've been mixed up with football and everything. And football players, they can't wait to hit the showers. But lacrosse players, I don't know, they just don't want to show their stuff, so they just don't shower. And they don't wear the jock straps. Lacrosse player. So this is two things I picked up, and I start, you know, I'm not the quickest guy in the world, but I start putting one and two together, and I find out, you know what? This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing to these guys. They don't want to go out in these tight shorts, and you know. And then Mark Bruce comes up to me and says, "Coach, you know, I'll tell you something." He said, "Half of them don't look that bad in them." He said, "But the other half, I have to agree with them. That's, you know, that is showing, you know." And I took Mark's word for it because he used to hang around the showers, so he knew about the kids. But, and what we did is I just felt bad about that. And I said, I got the trainer, I said, could you go up and get our shorts? And we went up to get the shorts, and they kept the span jeans on, and we put shorts over top the span jeans. And that's how we ended that. We went out to practice on a Monday. Ron Roberts and I, we're big gordos, we had span jeans on. And I mean, they were repulsive looking. And we stood out, and we got a kick out of it. Boy, did the kids see this. They're going to get a big kick out of this. And we stood out on a hill talking to the guys. You know, not one of them said anything to us. And I thought maybe they might know something about us or something. I wasn't sure about that. But anyhow, what I want to say about this is if we didn't wear the shorts, then Glenn Smith, Glenn, would you stand up, please? I mean, Glenn was a little bigger back then. He would have broke the Guinness World Book of Records with the largest pair of span jeans ever worn by the cross player on the field. Anyhow, great bunch of kids. Who's got them? Somebody got those span? You got them on, Glenn? Sean, what you got, buddy? All right. Now I just want to talk about that 91 team real quick. You know, they were a good team, and sometimes as a coach, great athletes, but if you don't have that chemistry, it's not going to work. And pal, we had the chemistry. We had a great bunch of kids. We had chemistry. These guys were good lacrosse players. And somebody came up to me early in the season and said, Coach, how do you think you're going to do? I said, we're going to do great. We're going to do great. And we went on into the season, and it was the first year in my tenure at Towson University that we didn't miss a practice. We practiced every day on a field. Other years, we'd miss practice because of snow, because of ice, no field. We'd have to go and move cars on a parking lot. We'd have to go and go out with a snow shovel, clean up some of the area parking lot above the racquetball courts, just so we can get out and get a workout. But we didn't have to do that this year. We were really fortunate. We had every day full field. And I got to tell you something. When you got a bunch of kids like I had, and you can go to practice and you can set up drills, and those drills look like $1 million because of the talent you got on that field. And when you go and you scrimmage, and you see an offense that's really explosive, and then you've got a defense that's just going to knock the hell out of you, and they can't wait to get after you. And when they go together, boy, that's enjoying lacrosse. I look forward to going to practice and look forward to watching these guys beat the hell out of one another. And you know what? The offense got better and the defense got better. And it was a beautiful thing to see, and I was so proud of them. And they played well during the season. I don't know, this is the first time I saw the film. I haven't seen the film, and I just don't feel good about watching that film. But this is the first time I saw that little bit. And some things come back. They were a good squad. 91 team was a good squad. We had a bunch of kids that really glued together, and we had fiber, and we had intensity, we had drive. God bless them. They just played super lacrosse, and I enjoyed it, you see. And I watched them when we went into the tournament, and I didn't know. I just told Rich Bader, I didn't know we went into 3 overtimes against Virginia, but evidently we did. Virginia was a high team. Yeah, evidently. 3?
I thought it was Princeton.
Thank you, Alex. We went into 3. Where the hell am I? Anyhow, I was happy. I probably had a coffee on the last 2. But we went out, and we played Virginia, we won that game, and it was a nice game to win. We felt good about it. That's a super win. Now our next game is Princeton. Princeton was probably the best college game played that year between Towson and Princeton. It was one hell of a game. I know it was close. All I know is we went down. All I know is I could see the medics coming in and taking my cousin away, who was up the game. He had a coronary. Watching that game, he was so nervous they had to get him the hell out of there. And then we come down. We had a break where we had a penalty, and Lindsey Dixon comes in and scores a big goal for us. And God bless it, we went after it. Super win for us. Then we go up, and at that point we start to we go up to play Maryland. I knew we were going to beat Maryland because we scrimmaged them earlier, and he had a good squad. Dick Adele did down there. He had a good squad, but when we went against them, we had 2 starters missing, you see. And I can't recall the reason why we had the starters missing, but they probably overslept. But anyhow, they didn't post, and we went down. I think we scrimmaged early in the season. I think our score was 10-9. They beat us in a scrimmage, early season. And then somebody came up, what do you think? You got Merlin coming up. I said, we're going to knock the hell out of Merlin. And guess what? We did. It was super. Guys went out there and they played well. I just got nervous at one time. I called a timeout with around 3 minutes ago, and I said, look, we're ahead. I figured 15-10 or something like that. And Doug Schertz had the ball on the sideline. And I said, here's what we're going to do. We're going to bring the ball in. They're going to be intensified. They're going to come after us. They got to have the ball. They're going to foul us. When they foul us, we're going to sit back and just work the ball around for 1 minute. And now we only got 2 to go. We're going to the finals. Woo! I said, now here's what we're going to do. We're going to hang on to that ball, right? Push it down. No shots taken. Let's draw a foul. They got to come to us. God bless it. The whistle blows. Everybody's cheering. They run back out. Doug, where are you, Doug? In the back, Doug's got the ball. What does he do? He sprints like a madman right to the cage and takes a shot. The goalie comes up with a big save. I almost had a heart attack. And anyhow, Maryland got the ball. We come back with it, and we were able to hang on. And we did. We beat Maryland. It was a great game, and the guys played super net. And then we went in the finals, and it was just a beautiful thing to see. Our kids played well. And they came up, and we had a bad start. And I've always felt very, very sincerely that sometimes as a coach you stay with a philosophy, you stay with certain things. And I was too damn hard-headed to change. And if I'd have changed in that first half a lot earlier, we would have been national champions without a doubt. These kids played we struggled in that first half. Because of the defense we were running. We lost Carl Biernick sitting over here. Carl Biernick was an All-American defenseman. 3 minutes ago in the Maryland game, he breaks his ankle. Now we're a little thin. We got a jitterbug around. Things aren't clicking the way they were, and we have difficulty, and they're scoring on us. So they're an outstanding team. I'm not taking anything away from them, but I believe this to my dying day that Towson was a better team. We were a better team, and we should have had that.
You're not better than Carolina.
Years ago, I was talking to Joe Orlino. Years ago, when I was a young coach, I had a mentor, a fellow who coached with me out in Arizona in high school. And Jim Sproul was his name. He was a defensive tackle for the old Baltimore Colts. And Jim Sproul came up, and we were talking about kids. And I said, boy, I got a great kid coming in. Kid transferred in from Texas. I said, man, he's going to be a good one for us, Jim. And he said, Coach, he said, let me just tell you something real quick. He said, when I was up in Durango, Colorado, he says, I was coaching these youngsters. And he said, and I had a youngster come up, and he could pole vault 13 foot. High school pole vaulter, 13 foot, which is, I don't know whether you got any track people here, 13 foot in high school is not all that bad. And he said, I was so elated about that. He says, I worked with that kid. I said, I got a state champion. He says, I'm going to win it all. He said, by the end of the season, I coached him down to 11 foot. He said, if I left that booger alone, he would have been a state champion. He said, but no, I had to go and I had to coach him. And that's sometimes how I feel about the 9-1 team. I wonder how great you guys would have been if I just cut you loose and let you go. You would have been a super team, and I love it.